Very good morning, children. I hope all are fine. And as a part of our geography discussion, particularly 7th standard, 12th chapter, Earth's interior. Previously, we have seen the structure of Earth's interior. Particularly, we have seen about what was actually geology, who are called geologists, and what are the three important layers we find in the interior part of the earth. Those are the crust, mantle and core, and what are the important characteristic features of those layers, all we have seen earlier. Now today you are going to see what is the main difference between rocks and minerals and the classification of rocks. Under classification of rocks, you are going to see what are igneous rocks, what are metamorphic rocks, what are crystalline rocks, what are sedimentary rocks, all we are going to see. So first of all, we have to understand what are rocks and what are the important properties of rocks. The first one, they are explaining that the rocks are aggregates of minerals. Rocks are what? Aggregates of minerals. What is the meaning of aggregates? Aggregate means actually making total. Aggregate means what? Total. So rocks are aggregates of minerals means what? In rocks, what do we find? We find minerals. So rocks are the composition of minerals. So whenever one or more minerals are combined together, and in such a way rocks are generally formed. So in each rock you may find one or more mineral. Understood? What do you find in each rock? In each rock you may find one or more mineral, what they have mentioned here. And all these rocks do not have a defined chemical composition. No chemical composition, defined chemical composition. We don't find a defined chemical composition, and also these rocks do not have specific physical properties. No specific physical properties. That means you cannot tell correct the shape, correct size like that. So no chemical composition, no specific physical properties. And in case of these rocks, you may find some hard as well as compact rocks like granite and diamond. In case of rocks, what you find? You not only find hard and compact rocks, even you find some loose particles also. In every rock, you may not find hard and compact rocks, but also you find some loose particles also. What are the example for those hard and compact rocks? Granite and also diamond. That means in every rock you may not find hard substances. Even you find some soft particles also, like what? Clay, mud and sand also. That means in each rock you may find the hard as well as soft substances. What you have to understand. And next one, these rocks can have in different color, sizes and also texture. These rocks can have different color, different sizes, different texture. You cannot tell the perfect color. So you cannot tell that all rocks in this color only. All rocks are this size only. All rocks have this texture only. Texture means appearance. Understood? So in that way, all rocks can have different color, all rocks can have different sizes, and also all rocks may have different texture, and all rocks are not homogeneous. All rocks you may not find all rocks in same color, same size and also same texture. And you have to understand what is ore. See, you might have heard about iron ore. Understood? bauxite ore, hematite ore. Like that, you might have heard about ore. What is ore? O-R-E-O. Ore means a rock which has a particular mineral in large quantity. A rock which has a particular mineral in large quantity. I told you already in the beginning itself. One rock may have one or more minerals. It is a composition of one or more minerals. But if a rock has one mineral completely in large quantity, that is called a particular mineral in large quantity, that is called ore. I hope you understood. So rocks actually, in every rock you may find one or more minerals. But if you find one particular mineral in large quantity, that is called ore. Example is bauxite is a ore of aluminum. What it is? Aluminum. That means you can get aluminum from bauxite ore. Even you can get iron from what? From hematite ore. Understood? Hematite ore. You can get iron. You can get aluminum from bauxite ore. That means in case of bauxite ore, you may find that is aluminum. So whenever you refine this bauxite, you may get aluminum. Whenever you refine hematite, you may get iron. So in that way, a rock which has a particular mineral in large quantity, that is called ore, and some examples are given here. The bauxite is the ore of aluminum, hematite is the ore of iron. So I hope you understood about rocks. So rocks are the aggregates of minerals. So and one rock may have one or more minerals, and also rocks do not have chemical compositions, particular chemical composition, and also even rocks do not have specific physical properties. And in rocks you not only find some hard and compact rocks like granite and diamond. In rocks you may find some loose particles also like clay, mud and sand. And rocks can have different color, different sizes, different texture. And a rock which has a particular mineral in large quantity, what that is called ore. And example for those ores are, that is bauxite ore, from which we extract aluminum, hematite ore from which we get iron, particular. So in this way you have to understand about rocks. Next we have to understand what are minerals. See here they are explaining about minerals. See how, what are minerals? Minerals are naturally occurring solid chemical substances. So these are natural. You cannot prepare, you cannot manufacture, you cannot create these. So these are the naturally occurring solid chemical substances generally formed through geological process. Generally these are formed through geological process. What you have to understand. So these are the minerals. Then what is the main difference between mineral and rock here? So minerals have definite chemical composition, and also those have specific physical properties. Do you find the same quantity, same feature? In case of rocks you don't find, but in case of minerals what you find? Definite chemical composition as well as you find specific physical properties. That what you can see in case of minerals. Of course already I told you that is rocks are aggregates of minerals. What rocks? Rocks are aggregates of minerals. That means whenever one or more mineral are combined together, and those may form as rocks. So in each rock you may find one or more mineral. So these are the important characteristic features of minerals, and the science which actually studies about minerals, that is called mineralogy. What is mineralogy? The science which deals about minerals, that is what mineralogy. See, in our country you may find 4 types of minerals particularly. What are those metallic minerals? Non-metallic minerals. Next one, fuel minerals. Fourth one is atomic minerals. What are the four types of minerals you find based on their properties? Metallic minerals, non-metallic minerals, fuel minerals, atomic minerals. Understood? Just I am giving examples for fuel minerals. So what are fuel minerals? That is what which are actually useful for creation of energy. That is what coal, lignite, petroleum. So all these come under fuel minerals. Then what are the atomic minerals? Uranium, thorium, monazite, plutonium. Okay. So coal, lignite, petroleum, and even natural gas also. Natural gas also. So try to understand. For fuel minerals, generally which is used as fuel in order to create in order to generate electricity. So coal, lignite, petroleum, natural gas, and atomic minerals, that is uranium, thorium, monazite, plutonium, all those come under this atomic mineral. Just I am giving examples. So based on their quantity, based on their availability in our country, in case of some minerals, India is surplus. That means we are exporting some minerals to some other countries. Just take one example, iron ore. We are exporting iron ore to Japan through Visakhapatnam port. We are exporting iron through Visakha port to which country? Japan. Understood? So in case of some minerals we are surplus. Surplus means we have got excess deposits of some minerals. In case of some minerals we are self-sufficient. This is surplus. Just I am telling one example, surplus. In case of surplus, that means we have excess deposits, more deposits of such minerals. Those are surplus. Like one example, iron ore. Next, in case of some minerals we are self-sufficient. What it is? Self-sufficient. For example, coal. Of course, little quantity we are actually importing from other countries, coal. So in case of coal, somewhat we are self-sufficient. That means how much we require, that much we are able to produce. We are actually extracting from the mines. Next, in case of some minerals, we are deficit. That means we are scarce. Some scarce minerals are there. Scarce. For example, petroleum. So we are importing petroleum from other countries, OPEC countries. You know that. Okay. So in this way, just in order to have a little idea about minerals, I told you some examples. So based on their properties, minerals are of four types here. Then based on the availability of these resources in our country, they are divided into three. In case of some minerals, we are surplus. In case of some minerals, we are self-sufficient. In case of some minerals, we don't have enough resources, so we are importing from other countries. Now let us see the classification of rocks. In that classification of rocks, just we are going to see about the first rocks, that is igneous rocks. Okay. Yes, children. So after understanding the basic differences between rocks and minerals, you have to understand the classification of rocks. See here what they are telling. Based on origin and appearance, rocks are divided into three types: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, metamorphic rocks. What are the three types? Igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, metamorphic rocks. And before going to see the classification, generally you have to understand that the crust, the first layer of the earth, it is composed of rocks, and rocks are different. How they are different? That is mode of formation. So based on the mode of formation they are different, and even based on their characteristics rocks are different. See how some rocks are formed, the other rocks may not be formed in the same way. That is what the mode of formation. Next, characteristics. Even in case of characteristics also, one rock completely differ from other rock. So what are the characteristics? In texture they are different, in color they are different, in hardness they are different, and in structure they are different. So in this way rocks completely differ from each other. Understood? Then why do we study about these rocks? Okay, so why do we study about these rocks? In order to understand various landforms. What are the important landforms? The mountains, plateaus, valleys, all these are the different landforms. So in order to understand different landforms, we have to study about rocks. What is the relationship between landforms and these rocks? Because these landforms are generally made up of those important rocks only. So whenever you understand the rocks, automatically you can understand the nature of those landforms. So that's why in order to understand various landforms like mountains, plateaus, valleys, you have to understand about the rocks. Then one more important thing you have to understand, rocks are the basis for soil. How soil is actually formed? What is soil? The first layer of the earth surface is called soil. And how it is formed? Soil is formed from the rocks only through different process. Okay, like withering is there, like soil erosion is there. So based on those important regions, soils are formed. So soils, the rocks are the basis for soil, and that soil only decides the type of vegetation and also the land use. Land use. That means all type of vegetation may not be seen in same kind of soil. So vegetation means a area which is covered with the different kinds of plants. So the vegetation what you find here you may not find in the other place. Why? Because the soil is different there. The vegetation what you find in desert, do you find same vegetation in the plain area? No, that is different. So that's why you have to understand one thing here, that is the soil, rocks are the basis for the soil. That soils only decide the type of vegetation and also land use. So if the soil is more fertile, we may use that soil for agriculture purpose. And if the soil is not useful for agriculture, we may use that soil for other purposes, construction purpose or like that. So in this way, rocks play very important role. Why? Because from rocks only soil, even soil is also created. So that what we have to understand in the introduction. So based on the origin and appearance, the rocks are divided into three types here: igneous, metamorphic and sedimentary. Now you have to understand what are igneous rocks. Igneous, the word igneous has been, the English word igneous has been derived from the Latin word ignis. What is this? Ignis. The igneous has been derived from the Latin word ignis. What is the meaning of ignis? Fire. What is the meaning of ignis? Fire. So how these igneous rocks are formed? Whenever, that is what, a cooling and solidification of molten magma under the earth's surface, whenever because of the process of cooling and solidification of molten magma under the earth's surface, with that igneous rocks are formed. That means whenever molten magma it is cooled down and solidified under the earth's surface, then these rocks are formed. Understood? And if you compare the other rocks, as these rocks are formed very early, that's why these rocks even called primary rocks. Why these rocks are called primary rocks? Because these rocks are only formed firstly. That's why these rocks are called primary rocks. And even these rocks are parent rocks. Parent rocks means what? From these rocks only the other types of rocks are formed. That's why these rocks are considered as parent rocks. Understood? Why these rocks are called parent rocks? Because from these rocks only other rocks are formed. That's why these rocks are called parent rocks. Understood? I hope you understood about the features of and formation of igneous rocks. And after understanding how igneous rocks are formed, we have to see the types of igneous rocks. Here you have to find two types. Intrusive rocks are plutonic rocks, same, and extrusive rocks are volcanic rocks. Why these are intrusive? Because these rocks are formed under the earth's surface. See, when molten magma solidifies under earth's surface particularly and form as large crystals, those rocks are called intrusive or plutonic rocks. Try to understand once again. Intrusive or plutonic rocks are the first type of igneous rocks. These are formed under the earth's surface when molten magma solidifies and form as large crystals. And example for intrusive rocks or plutonic rocks are granite and dolerite. Granite and dolerite, understood? So these are the first type of igneous rocks. And the second type of igneous rocks are when molten magma comes out as lava. What is explosive or volcanic rocks? When molten magma comes out as lava and whenever it is cooled down and form as explosive or volcanic rocks. So what is the basic difference between these two? These are formed under the earth's surface, but these are formed above the earth's surface. Understood? And example for this, basalt and pumice. Basalt and pumice are the example for extrusive and volcanic rocks. Now coming to so here I have given the meaning of crystal. Large crystals intrusive, small crystals extrusive. Crystal means a piece of homogeneous solid substance. What is crystal? A piece of homogeneous solid substance. That is the meaning of crystal. So these are formed as large crystals, these are formed as small crystals. And the features. These igneous rocks are crystalline in nature. Crystalline in nature. What is the appearance? Crystalline in nature means what is crystalline? Having the structure and form of crystal. Having the structure and form of a crystal. So easily you can see the object. The other object you can easily see. That is what crystal. So the nature of the igneous rocks are particularly those are crystalline in nature. The second important feature of igneous rocks are those are hard and compact. What is the other important feature of igneous rocks? Those are very hard and compact. And even these rocks do not allow water into percolite. Water will not actually go into this, particularly these rocks. You may have one doubt now. Will other rocks allow water into those rocks? Some rocks. Yes, some rocks allow. Some rocks allow water into percolite through those minerals, particularly those rocks. But these rocks do not allow water into go into those minerals, particularly rocks. And these rocks are not formed in layers or strata. Formed in layers or strata. These rocks are not formed in layers. Understood? And finally, these rocks remains of plants and animals. That means you may not find fossils in these rocks. Fossils means what? Remains of plants and animals. You may not find that is another important feature of igneous rocks. Igneous rocks do not have fossils. Fossils means what? Remains of plants and animals. These rocks do not have such fossils. This is another important feature of igneous rocks. So children, I hope you understood the first type of rocks based on the origin and appearance. Rocks are of three types, but in this class just we discussed the first type. Those are igneous rocks. I hope you understood. So you better to see the textbook also. That is what 12th chapter, 7th standard. And even if you don't understand, watch the video once again and try to answer in the worksheet. Thank you.